All right, let's get cooking. Welcome to the latest edition of Chin Check Sports Radio. I'm your host, JD. I want to thank you all for taking the time out to join us. And as always, we welcome any suggestions, feedback, comments, and criticisms, which improves the quality of our program, which ultimately improves your listening experience. Before we get started, I want to tell all of you thank you for your tremendous support. People are slowly but surely finding out about who we are and what we do. They enjoy and respect the passion with which we speak. But as we always say here at Chin Check Sports Radio, we do this because we love it, as are simply sharing our passion with you all as we continue to build our listening army to take over the world. Well, we are back for the NFL season, the 2025 NFL season. As you all should know by now, we are your go-to on YouTube for Dallas Cowboys coverage throughout the season and all throughout the year. So yes, there have been a lot of noise come out of the Dallas Cowboys camp, especially in the last couple of weeks. We are definitely going to touch on it. But the 2025 Dallas Cowboys opened up the season or campaign on the road against the defending Super Bowl champions and the NFC East rivals, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Cowboys came up short in a score of 24-20. So let's jump right into our numbers here. Quarterback Dak Prescott, 21 of 34 attempts, 188 yards with no touchdowns, no interceptions. Running back Javonte Williams, 15 carries for 54 yards. Miles Sanders, 4 carries for 53 yards. CeeDee Lamb, 7 catches, 110 yards. And we'll talk about another stat later. George Pickens, 3 catches, 30 yards. CeeDee Lamb, 7 catches, 110 yards. Jake Ferguson, 5 catches, 23 yards. On the defensive side, Malik Hooker, 9 total tackles for a solo. Kenneth Murray Jr., 9 total tackles for a solo. Kyer Elam, 6 total tackles for a solo. Damon Clark, 6 total tackles, 3 solo. Jack Sanborn, 6 total tackles, 2 solo, 1 tackle for a loss. Solomon Thomas, 5 total tackles, 3 solo, 1 tackle for a loss. Sam Williams, 5 total tackles, 3 solo, 1 tackle for a loss. Kenny Clark, 5 total tackles, 2 solo. Maris Leofau, 3 total tackles, 3 solo. Marshawn Nealon, 3 total tackles, 2 solo, 1 sack, 1 tackle for a loss. Deron Bland, 3 total tackles, 2 solo. Osa Odigozua, 3 total tackles, 1 solo. James Houston, 2 total tackles, 2 solo, 1 tackle for a loss. Trevon Diggs, 1 total tackle, 1 solo. Donovan Azir-Ruaku, 1 total tackle, 1 solo. And Donovan Wilson, 1 total tackle. So you know when we do our reviews about the Dallas Cowboys, we do not overreact to losses, nor do we gloss over wins. So let's take the game before the opening snap. Dak Prescott in his huddle with the offensive lineman clearly is in some kind of verbal exchange with all-pro defensive tackle and former Georgia Bulldog Jalen Carter, who's also responsible for the death of a young lady. And Dak Prescott clearly, if you look at the video, because you got idiots online trying to say that Dak spat on him first, when in fact, no. When Dak was behind his offensive lineman, clearly he lowered his head and spat on the ground while Jalen Carter was standing a good distance away from Dak Prescott. And then Jalen Carter walked himself over to where the huddle is and then spat on Dak Prescott's neck and chin. Well, I would say neck and chest area, and was immediately ejected out the game. So it's really nothing to talk about. So again, besides some people online really trying to say that what Jalen Carter did was justified because of what Dak did, these are just morons, idiots who really just don't know any better, and for the sake of just being stupid, they are definitely trying to fulfill the Christmas wish list. So that's a moot point. Jalen Carter spat on the man. He was ejected from the game. It's probably going to be suspended for game 2 at least. So, hey, man, it is what it is. We thought watching the game, the Cowboys came out very aggressive. We thought now they should have been taking advantage of running on the Philadelphia Eagles on the inside, especially without Jalen Carter. So the Cowboys definitely did what they had to do. In the first half, On the defensive side, we felt that defensive ends were very sloppy, that defensive ends did not make things happen. They were losing their outside contain, which opened up running lanes for one Jalen Hurts, especially on the outside. And I have defensive ends doing spin moves and clearly losing contain, and just or the outside shoulders being tangled up, and the QB is running right past them. So we thought it was definitely horrible discipline by the new defensive ends. But we thought in the second half, the Cowboys definitely made some adjustments on defense, because in the first half, Jalen Hurts, or the Eagles offense rather, didn't punt the ball not one time. But we thought the defense, they settled down a little bit more, especially the ends. The secondary, we thought they did an excellent job on that. The secondary did a great job with DaRon Bland and Trevon Diggs playing in Matt Eberflus, the new defensive coordinator, former head coach of the Chicago Bears, former defensive coordinator of the Indianapolis Colts, playing as cover 2. Well, again, they did a great job in locking down that great Eagles, their receiving core. And we're talking about from A.J. Brown only having 1 catch for 8 yards, Devontae Smith, 3 catches for 16 yards, 1 big bomb to Jahan Dotson, Dallas Goedert, 7 catches for 44 yards. So the Cowboys secondary definitely did their job in locking up that Eagles offense. So definitely kudos to them. DaRon Bland just signed a big contract, $90-something million, $50 million guaranteed. So you have your starting cornerbacks in both Trevon Diggs as well as DaRon Bland making a lot of money. So definitely expect that secondary to be locked down at least for the next 3 to 4 years. And also to Trevon Diggs, thank you for working hard in the offseason. You might not have worked with the team, which docked him, I believe, $500,000 per his contract, but definitely be back on the field by week 1. It says a lot to his level of commitment. So thank you, Trevon Diggs, on that. So the Cowboys, and here's a funny part. The Cowboys held that Eagles offense to 3 points in the third quarter and no points in the fourth quarter. So again, the damn defense definitely stiffened them. Now, going back to when the offense has scored some points for the Cowboys, Miles Sanders breaks out a long 49-yard run, I believe. We're going to give the Eagles linebacker Zach Baum the credit for basically having a rundown tackle, which was the touchdown saving tackle. Very next play, he fumbles a football. So, and we don't understand why was he handling the football when you had Javonte Williams, and we forgot to mention his 2 touchdowns. His 2 touchdowns that were within a 5 and a 10-yard line. So close quarters, why not give the ball to Javonte Williams? And Miles Sanders fumbling the football, which definitely changed the momentum of the game, which basically took points off the board, which now changes what the Cowboys needed, versus had the Cowboys at least gotten a field goal, they would have been down 24-23, which means while the final drive on the field would have only needed a field goal instead of a touchdown. So again, those little things can definitely come back to haunt you. Now, from on the defensive side, even though if you look at the numbers, the Dallas Cowboys gave up 158 yards rushing, but again, that's 62 to Jalen Hurts. Again, we're talking about bad angles by defensive ends. All-world Saquon Barkley with 99 man and ready to be down. Only 18 carries for 60 yards, and that's 3.3 yards per carry. So you see with the new addition of Kenny Clark, Jay Toya, the run defense, I thought definitely stiffened up. They definitely were not getting gashed like they have been like the last 5 years, if we're being honest, if we're really being honest with ourselves. So we felt that the run defense definitely held up. Now on the offensive side, Dak Prescott didn't turn the ball over. I know on a few occasions he was trying to throw some interceptions, but definitely it didn't happen. And making plays. The defense, again, stiffened up in the second half, and CeeDee Lamb. Now, everybody's going to think of the 4th down drop, but there were some other bad drops that CeeDee Lamb had in this game. There was another long 3rd down. Ball went right through CeeDee's hands, and it hit him in the helmet. I believe CeeDee Lamb was credited for 4 drops in the game, 3 in the second half. That's bad. Your number one receiver should not be having no 4 drops in the game. And we're talking about critical plays. Again, everybody's going to think of the 4th down drop. But it was, again, go back, watch the game. It was another 3rd and long. I believe it might have been 3rd and 10. Ball went right through CD's hands. So, if, again, we gave you his numbers, but the drops were very critical. Now, CD, last year you wanted some money. Jerry Jones gave you a 4-year contract, $136 million. Come on now. The second highest paid non-QB in the league at that time. $38 million signing bonus, $100 million guaranteed money. So I got a $100 million receiver dropping passes. That can't happen. So CD, whatever you need to do, get your ass in front of that jug machine and be catching passes high, low, from the side, like behind your back, because those things cannot happen. This is why we're not a big proponent of guys not playing in the preseason. At least try to get a few live game reps and stuff like that. But again, hopefully it will get better. Hopefully we shouldn't have this problem again. But 4 drops from a guy making $100 million guaranteed, that's totally unacceptable. You are considered one of the top receivers in football, along with Justin Jefferson, along with Jamar Chase. You think of A.J. Brown, you think of CeeDee Lamb. So CeeDee Lamb is generally considered a top 5 wide receiver at worst. I'm need to make it happen, brother. So this is totally unacceptable. George Pickens, I believe the Cowboys have to get more of George Pickens involved. He seems to be a matchup nightmare for anybody. Large body, physical receiver, great hands. So I think the Cowboys should work it out. Again, only 3 catches for 30 yards. Not good enough. But hey, it is what it is. It's only week 1. So, but CD, yeah, you're making $100 million guaranteed, brother. I'm need you to cut the nonsense. The running game, again, a solid running game. But again, the Cowboys keep doing this running back by committee, trying to do a piecemeal running back. So that's just, try to find some stability at that position. Running back out of Clemson, Phil Mafah, who was a preseason fan favorite, is out, I believe, on IR or the PUP list, the physically unable to perform list. I'm sure there's a difference I don't feel like getting into right now, but he's going to miss a couple of weeks, so we'll kind of see how that goes. But at some point, the Cowboys have to establish a bell cow running back. That's been their history when they've been the most successful of having a bell cow workhorse running back. So there's all this running back by committee is not going to work. So, hey man, it is what it is. If there's one concern to take away from this game, this would be the lack of Dallas Cowboys pass rush. Now, again, it's to be expected without Micah Parsons. It's to be expected. And we even said last year, I know they liked Marshawn Nealon, but even his rookie year, where at this point you're pretty much just getting by on your athleticism, he has a lot of effort. He doesn't quit on plays, but you clearly saw the difference in the athleticism and the explosiveness with a Marshawn Nealon versus a Micah Parsons. You start to see the difference. He just doesn't have that explosiveness, that fast twitch, and that bend, and the ability to get around blockers very quickly. Sam Williams is coming off of an ACL, so again, we don't know how much exposure that he's going to have. Again, he hurt his ACL in training camp last year, missed the entire season, is back. Is he back up to full speed? I mean, he had a solid rookie season 2 seasons ago, so there is some potential that's there, but a few maybe off-the-field problems, and that's why he dropped in the second round, having issues in college. So hopefully if he can keep it together and get back to that form, hopefully DeMarvin Overshown should be back. But again, he's been injury-prone, 2 season-ending injuries the last 2 years, only his second year in the league, so it's things to worry about. Now, of course, the elephant in the room that people was asking us to opine on is Micah Parsons. We hate to see Micah Parsons go, and it clearly became a situation that became too toxic and that could have really crippled this team. I thought the team actually played well despite Micah not being there a week before week 1. But the bottom line is this. Micah Parsons got his money, and we're happy he got his money. You will find no bigger Micah Parsons fan than us. He deserved his money. It was more than well deserved. He is one of the best defensive players in the league. On a trajectory for the Hall of Fame. But clearly something had to be done. Now, Jerry Jones, we didn't agree. Now, Jerry's argument is he made a handshake agreement with Micah Parsons But Jerry knew damn well that you could not do that. You had to go through his agent, and had Micah told his agent, the agent was going to tell you to fly a kite, and it was going to rake Jerry over the coal for that money, much like what happened with Dak and City. Now, I get Jerry's argument. Paying Micah that money would have seriously strapped the Cowboys financially. That would have hurt their chances to be very competitive for years on end. But we understand that. But Jerry, that's your job, is to maintain the salary cap. So Jerry felt it was in the best interest to move on from Micah to get a couple of first-round draft picks. I would argue the Cowboys should have gotten more for Micah Parsons. But these are draft picks that can be traded for future draft picks, even get some more picks. Again, try to rebuild roster. And by rebuilding a roster, maybe even including a future quarterback, but trying to rebuild the roster and win now, where you have young guys on rookie contracts who are able to compete, because that seems to be the new business model in the NFL. Get you guys who haven't signed big contracts yet. Seemingly all your top draft picks are hitting, and they're hitting well, and you can be a very creative team, a very competitive team, make deep playoff runs until time to pay off some money. I will tell you to look no further than San Francisco 49ers. They had the Avengers pretty much in that squad. We saw the regression in 1 year with guys getting hurt. Guys are still hurt in San Francisco, as well as losing one Deebo Samuel. So those things happen, and maybe Jerry's kind of looking at that to say, well, if I could do well with the draft picks, we can hopefully build a championship team. I know people are looking or remembering the Herschel Walker trade, which definitely lives in Dallas Cowboy lore. That Herschel Walker trade and getting the draft picks that pretty much facilitated them acquiring players like Emmitt Smith and Darren Woodson, and those are some of the pieces that was set to build a championship roster for those 3 Super Bowls. The problem with that is the missing person out of that equation is one Jimmy Johnson, despite one dumbass that really tried to argue with us on Twitter about. But Jimmy Johnson was a common denominator who actually was able to pick the players and stuff like that. Will McClay, we feel he does a great job in terms of drafting first-round talent on the offensive side. His second-round draft picks, if you take away Trevon Diggs, have been very minimal and average at best. Guys like Tristan Hill, guys like Jalen Smith only got one good season out of him. So his Randy Gregory. So we don't necessarily like his second-round draft picks. And, of course, but he's drafted guys like, again, Dak Prescott, Duron Bland, guys drafted in the later round. So, again, we wish Micah Parsons the best. We don't hate Micah Parsons. We thank you, Micah, for your service to the Dallas Cowboys. Definitely one of the best players in the league, and you pretty much took the league by storm. Again, we had our criticism and critiques of you doing podcasts and listen to guys telling you that, especially that time with Jordan Love, and we did a broadcast on that, how Jordan Love knew that they can run on the Cowboys. And so, we weren't the biggest fan of that, but we took that because of the type of player that you were. You always gave maximum effort, so we wish you nothing but the best. But Cowboys, we're going to have to move on from that. Micah's gone now. You guys need to work with the players, okay, in the locker room. Again, not going to overreact to week 1. Definitely seen to play better stopping the run, but now it seems that we sacrificed one for the other, where we had a hell of a pass rush and we couldn't stop the run. Now we stood up against the run and we're lacking a pass rush. So just something to keep in mind on the offensive side. Definitely have to get a little bit better. CeeDee Lamb, again, you're making $100 million, brother. I don't need you dropping passes like this. We get it. You might drop a pass here and there, but not no 4 in one damn game, and not show but 3, in one half. So that just can't happen. So Cowboys down. Definitely play the New York Giants next. And again, that's another division rival. A much improved New York Giants team with Russell Wilson at the helm. So the Cowboys definitely see what they do. And again, we are back for another exciting NFL season with the Dallas Cowboys. You already know, win, lose, or draw, we're definitely going to do what we do. Try to get the information out there. Try to get our broadcast out there as fast as we can. We actually went out, and a good friend of ours, Lee, definitely enjoyed the night out, my brother. And definitely we definitely saw that weather delay, and that clearly pushed obviously the ending of the game back, which pushed back our start time back, and of course the time that we actually put this program out to you all. So until the next time, it's Chin Check Sports Radio signing out.